Hello there everyone, I'm Ben Rowe from WhatCulture.com, joined today by Kirsten.
Hello.
And we're here to talk about Star Wars, and it's kind of not good news, and it's related to EA, so obviously it's going to be some sort of twisted evil corporate mess. But we're going to dig into the graveyard of cancelled Star Wars games today, and more so look at Ragtag. Yes, some news has come up about that with an interview on Mintmax with Zach Mumbach, where he talks about the process of the last days of Visceral, really. And when I say last days, the last few years, going from working on Hardline to being shifted back into single player, and it seems like just a lack of management, or wrong place, wrong time, or just someone on the executive side decided, no, I want that thing now. I don't know about you, Kirsten, but looking back at this, the idea of going from a multiplayer game Hardline and going, let's go to a single player game, seems a bit weird, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's especially when that's sort of like your forte, and I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm one of those people that just really enjoys sort of single player games. I mean, I don't mind sort of multiplayer as long as it's, you can play with friends and you can do a bit of couch co-op, but it doesn't seem to be the case anymore. Everything is all sort of online. So maybe I am just one of the very rare few that's just like, I like a single player game, but it does seem strange to go from making multiplayer games to go straight into, we're just going to focus on single player now.
And there's another thing where we all knew Visceral as the people that made Dead Space and were great at this sort of single player narrative sort of focus game, this like nice little 12 to 15 hour experience, and they even suffered at one point with having multiplayer shoved into Dead Space. But it makes what was brought up here by Zach on this interview, it makes sense that once they were shifting to Battlefield Hardline, a lot of their, like, as he puts out, some of their best talent, the people that could make possibly one of the best Star Wars games ever made, was shifted out, and they left and went out to go work with Square Enix on the Avengers game. So imagine that, he goes into this more detail in the story, but imagine building something up so much as you can, getting the representation you have got, and then everyone buggers off, leaves, you finish Hardline, you get out a multiplayer game that was to mixed response, and there was a few weird themes in it, and then some other one on the board, some other sort of like man goes, or some exec goes, now make one of those single player games that you're really good at, but then the whole team is gone. It's almost like they were set up to fail here, and it keeps going into this where at one point they said that Zach also said that they had never got this far into a game without it being finished. I mean, with it being cancelled. Goes into detail about like some of the character aspects of the main character. Obviously, we know that this wasn't a Jedi. This character was going to be a sort of like smugglery type, and it goes into detail of like a Robin Hood-y sort of Star-Lord character. And I think that's one of the people's most favourite aspects from Star Wars. I mean, like, you might start off as a kid like liking Luke Skywalker, but a lot of us, we connected with Han Solo in a way. We like the smuggler, we like the charm, the suave. And I don't know about you, would you like to see a game that step back from the lightsaber, spinning the lightsabers around, and be more on, say, like an action hero, sort of like the Uncharted style?
Yeah, I still think it would have been an amazing game, and like I said, being able to play from a different perspective where you aren't this just all-powerful Jedi, actually having some sort of weakness there is interesting, and sort of having, someone say like, oh, basically it's Uncharted but Star Wars, like, yeah, hello, like that would have been amazing, and just sort of playing as just a completely normal person, and sort of seeing the clips from what I'd seen on YouTube. I've really got like a Mandalorian vibe from it as well, which is just straight away like, yes, like please make a Mandalorian game. So it just looked really good. Like, I don't really care who I'm playing as, whether it's a Jedi, a bounty hunter, or just a normal sort of person in this Star Wars universe, as long as it's good, as long as there's a good story, as long as it looks good. And it did. It looked really good. Like, oh, it's just such a shame. It's just such a shame. Like you said, it literally felt like they were just set up to fail, and it's such a shame.
We should really dive into the meat of this, but before we get there, just that they were going on about a sequence that was pretty much complete a la Uncharted style, an ATST chase is, if you're not sure of an ATST, it's like sort of like a tall walking thing about 2 stories high, whatever. But basically in the style of the Uncharted or the Crash Bandicoot being chased by the big thing as you run through, which I'm guessing from what we saw, the streets of Tatooine, like sliding through as you're being chased. And the idea of facing off against this machine and making it menacing like the Mandalorian did with an ATST in that show, where some people painted it up and look sinister within the woods. Being chased by this through Tatooine, like that just sounds like single player gold to me. But
yeah.
Obviously none of this mattered, because now getting to the real meat of this story, at one point when EA had that sort of mandate where they put out a press release going, single player games don't sell, single player games are not the future, single player games are boring, we want the money. And basically EA wanted something like the Battle Royale style, and they're going on a quote saying, what was that game with the chicken dinner thing, the PUBG? We want that. And so far into the development of Ragtag, and it just comes to like, so is it just ignorance, or is it stupidity, or what is it? Because you can't just go take this. It's like, I'm gonna food analogy, it's like I've got some jelly, I've been making jelly for years. Like jelly is very, very, like, it takes a while to get some good jelly, and you go, no, now turn it into a Victoria sponge. Like you just can't like do that like that. And just now we can see like even more details into why this game just flat out died and was cancelled so late. I don't know about you, like, does it just am I just sounding crazy in my rant here, or does it feel like this was just one of the worst decisions that EA probably made?
Yeah. Definitely. Like, this could have been one of the best Star Wars games that they've released in years. It's been such a long time since they actually released a decent Star Wars game, and
we should say Fallen Order is pretty good though.
Well, yeah, but when they were, talking about bringing back like Star Wars Battlefront, and I don't know if you played the original, but it was one of my favourite games. I loved it, considering, it was like a multiplayer co-op sort of game. I guess it didn't have to be co-op, but it was like a multiplayer game that you could play, and I could see where they were sort of going from. They're obviously seeing stuff like Fortnite and PUBG, and they're thinking, well, let's do Battlefront, let's do more like multiplayer Star Wars games. But I don't know what this big thing is about, single player doesn't sell. Like, it does, as long as it's good. Like, you can't turn around and say, we're going to make Uncharted but Star Wars and get people all hyped up for that, because people, yes, that's what we want. That is what we want from a Star Wars game. You either make Battlefield the first game but as it was, just like remake it, don't touch it, don't start adding in all these crappy things that just completely ruined the second one, or you just do something completely original, which at this point I think they need to do, which is what they did do. And I just don't understand. It's ignorance. It's just ignorance and greediness of saying, no, let's hop on what's popular with a majority of people, and just completely poo-poo the fact that actually a lot of people really do enjoy single player stuff. Like, if you want to add a multiplayer aspect into it, then yeah, add that in at the end if you really want to. But like, I can tell you right now, this game would have just done so well, and it just feels like such a mistake. It would have been so popular. If they can manage to bring out like The Last of Us as a single player game, and that does, really well, then why would, if Uncharted itself works well, why would you not want a Star Wars Uncharted? I don't get it. I really don't understand.
And they had Amy Hennig at the helm, and it seems like all the right pieces were there. And this could be me sort of like editorializing a bit, but going by what Zach said and looking into the situation, and I just think it was execs were tired of Visceral as a studio, and they wanted that whole thing shut down, because then you go to, after Battlefront 2 blew up, they shut that game down, and then Fallen Order was just announced. I forget the exact name now, the producer's name in the crowd. I was like, yeah, we're making a single player Star Wars game. Just in the crowd at E3 one year, he's just like, what's going on? It seems like such a left turn, but to me it feels like my personal feeling is that this isn't coming from anywhere else. I feel like that EA were just kind of done with Visceral, and they even go on record saying that Visceral was in an expensive place to host the studio. But then again, so was the studio that produced Fallen Order. They're based in LA, and that's also notoriously another expensive place to make a game. Like, you've got just the land to build something there, just to host the office is enough as it is. But it just seems all in all across the board that this was taken and someone got their mitts on it. They decided they weren't something new. It wasn't going to work out. And they wanted that chicken dinner, but they weren't going to get that chicken dinner because there's probably no chickens in Star Wars. Don't quote me. It's probably winner, winner, womp rat
Space
dinner.
chickens.
Because at this point, they took what could have been potentially, as they've gone on there, and like these two people on the interview in Max were passionate. Zach was passionate, saying this could have been the best Star Wars game ever made, and not shooting shade on other Star Wars games either. He said, but the idea of basically reskinning an Uncharted game, putting the Star Wars aesthetic over it. To me, it just works, and it would have been a nice pace from getting away from Jedi, a la Mandalorian. So I don't know if there's any closing thoughts for you before we go and play some single player games, because they're that's what that's what sell.
They are the best. Yeah, clearly. No, I'm just angry. I'm just angry about the whole thing. And yeah, I will go and play my single player games because they're bloody good and they do sell. So if I could put up a middle finger, I would, but I'm not gonna.
Yeah,
because that's not allowed.
That's all from us. I think we're basically just astonished that the execs would just be like, give me that chicken dinner, when obviously that's not what they got in the end. And yeah, just let us know down in the comments below. Do you think this was such a stupid idea, and do you really wish you had Ragtag, or the cancelled Darth Maul game, or the cancelled 1313, or anything else? Bounty Hunter 2. Let us know down in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I've been Ben Roy. You can follow me on Twitter at BenRoyTurner. You can follow Kirsten on Twitter at
Kirsten Ria with 2 A's.
And you can follow us on Twitter as a collective as WC Gaming. But until next time, just maybe play Fallen Order again, and I'll see you soon. Goodbye there.
Bye.